Hi, welcome to the Business Growth Journey podcast with me, Nick Termini. Today, we've got an awesome guest, Janine Akers, Chief Crackerologist and founder of Crackerology. Janine, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Nick. I love hanging out with you.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to have you on today to be able to share your story. But Janine, to get started, how do we know each other?
So we met at a networking event in North Kansas City.
Yep.
And you light up the room wherever you go. And, I've watched you talk to other people and ask about everybody else. Sometimes there's people in the room and all they do is talk about themselves. But you're never talking about yourself. You're always drilling everybody else. So I should ask more questions about you.
Oh, no, you flipped the script within the first 30 seconds. This is good stuff, Janine. All right, well, awesome. And thank you for the observation, too. So, Janine, to get rocking and rolling here, could you just tell us a little bit about you, where you grew up, and, where you went to school?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. And I like to joke that that's really because I'm not manageable or hireable, Nick. I kind of got to make it where I'm like the Mayflower. I got to burn the boats, type thing. I actually grew up in St. Louis. So I'm one of those transplants to Kansas City. I don't know if anybody's from Kansas City, really. So
what part of St. Louis?
No, Nick, you're supposed to ask me where I went to high school.
Yeah, that's right. I actually did need that.
So I'm a South County girl. So I went to Afton High School, go Cougars. Okay. And I married a North County kid who went to Rosary High School. And if you know St. Louis, those are just things you don't normally do. But we did that. And we live in Kansas City and have lived here a long time. So
that's awesome. So what brought you to Kansas City?
Moved out here for an opportunity. I have a funny claim to fame in my resume.
Yes, let's get it going.
After college, I never took a job for which I replaced somebody. Like I never took a admin job or an accounts receivable job where I sat in somebody else's desk and somebody else's seat and Jane retired or left after 10 years and I went in her drawer and used her tape and her scissors. On my resume, on my LinkedIn, every single position I ever held was a growth position. It was a new position. So I've never stepped in somebody else's shoes. I've always just forged my own way.
Oh man, this is going to be good, Janine. I can already feel it. Okay. But before we get too far ahead, where'd you go to college and what type of degree did you get?
Yeah. So I am always here to encourage, especially, I just dropped my youngest off at college and I know this time of year, lots and lots of parents are doing that. I took a little college journey around the block. I went to Mizzou for a semester and I was a fish out of water there. I wasn't prepared and doesn't matter why. I went back to St. Louis and went to University of Missouri, St. Louis. It's like the UMKC of St. Louis. Yep. But I actually ended up graduating from Missouri State, which was Southwest Missouri State back then. I'm vintage. Yep. And so I have a degree in mathematics. So, really? I'm just kind of a nerd. I'm very pragmatic. I enjoy logic. Math made sense to me because there's an answer. If you get too bohemian and too subjective, how high is up? How pretty is pretty? I'm probably more business, financial spreadsheet focused.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I blew my mind.
I was certified to teach math. I taught math about a minute and a half. I was not a good teacher. That was not my calling. And so I've been in the business world ever since.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Janine, I also went to 3 colleges and can totally relate to that journey.
Yeah. All right. So that's good.
I mean, it's the book's still being written. But so Janine, you graduated with a math degree. Mm-hmm. You were able to teach math. You did it for a bit. Then what?
So then I went one day do you remember Kelly Temp Services? I mean, I'm a lot older than you.
Why do I know that?
Okay. Well, that used to be like a big, I'm sure they're still around, but you used to go there. And if you had a business and you needed like somebody to answer the phones because somebody was going on vacation, you would call up and they would send a temp over. So
Yep.
go to Kelly Temp Services and I take like a typing test and whatever test. My mom is horrified. She's like, I sent you to college. People go to Kelly Temp Services straight out of high school because they didn't go to college. I mean, that was her perception.
Oh yeah.
And I went and they're like, I got picked up and somebody called me the next day and they're like, come answer the phones. And I was like, well, this can't be that hard. And anyway, so I started these little part-time jobs and pretty soon I was asked to get hired. And yeah, so that was kind of my journey. That's kind of how I got into the business world. Like I didn't have business experience or anything like that. So I ended up really liking that. And I ended up at a company that was starting a branch out here in Kansas City. And I moved out here to be part of their sales training program to open this branch.
Yep.
And it was selling grocery packaging. I basically was selling landfill, Nick. So not really proud of that, but it's a necessity. And it was a great company and it was a great experience. It's what brought me here 28 years ago or something like that. It's where I met my husband out here. He moved out here at the same time. And yeah, that's how that journey started.
Okay, so that's pretty. So when you moved out here, were you by yourself, or did you have friends that you moved out here with?
I had one friend from that semester in college. And he lived out here, and we're still best friends to this day.
That's
and,
awesome.
My husband, who moved out here at the same time, he really didn't know anybody out here. So I was like, well, you can be friends with my one friend, and to this day, all of those people are our best friends.
Oh, that's awesome.
That one, we were at Mizzou and we were standing on the balcony because the dorm next door to us was on fire, which is unfortunate. Nobody was hurt or anything, but that's how I met her. And I was, we're like, hey, do you want to be best friends? I'm like, yeah. So
we've been through this moment together. I guess now we know. We've forged a beautiful friendship.
What 3 schools did you go to?
Went to William Jewell and played football there for a year and a half, and then came to the realization that I didn't go to class enough, and I was not going to the NFL. And so then I went to Maple Woods for a semester, and then up to Maryville, so Northwest Missouri State's where I graduated from.
We are like the same person. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. I knew when I met you. I'm like, I did not see math major coming. I mean, you have this big, huge personality that's so much fun. And when you said math major, I'm like, whoa, she just like broke the whole system with this. Yeah. It's amazing.
Don't ask me to tutor any of your kids in math because those days are long gone, but
it's funny. My oldest son is 7 and he teaches me how to build Legos. And he's really patient where he's like, Dad, you don't even read the instructions. I'm like, I don't do that. Yeah. Oh man, that's good stuff. Okay. So Janine, with your first job, what is it that attracted you to, want to grow in business? So if you were doing, sales training, what is it that gave you the juice from that? Because that's a pretty, unique transition from math to sales. What is it that you liked about it? And then, if you had a teaching degree or the ability to teach, right? Like teaching is teaching, whatever it is. But what is it that you liked about sales and helping grow people in that regard?
Honestly, I enjoy process. So, when you're selling, it doesn't matter what you're selling. There's a process, like how they order. How do you know when they reorder? How do they know what they need? What's the communication and the workflow like? Supply chain. I don't even think they called it supply chain back then. I don't know. Yeah. But I like that. But the more important thing is I really, really, in teaching, the thing that I couldn't wrap my mind around is that I couldn't understand that the only time I'm going to go to the bathroom is when the bell rings for the rest of my life.
I never thought about that. That is crazy.
I am sort of somebody who is needs a little less structure. And for me, I love owning my own time.
Yes.
And so in a sales role, there's times when I left my house at 5 a.m. to drive out. They were building Walmart supercenters at this time, like out in Goodland, Kansas.
Yep.
And I remember having to drive out there and deliver these paper towel holders that were going in the bathrooms. Our company that I worked for had that account, but I was on the road. It was my time. I could pull over. I could get a Slurpee if I wanted. I just like the flexibility
Yep.
of making it rain on my time. So,
Yes.
and that's what sales really is about. Now, I don't want to say like people, I think, take flexibility to realize, okay, well, now you're flexing yourself out of doing the work.
Yeah.
But I really, to this day, the thing I probably value the most is owning my own time.
Yeah. I mean, the job is to make things happen, right? And so
Yeah.
once you have your process dialed in, are able to develop your skill. Then from there, I mean, go get it, right? And so there's different times for stuff. I remember my first job out of college. I lived in Virginia Beach, was
Oh,
my first sales territory, and my boss was like, I want you to see 5 to 7 accounts per day, and then I had to have like a journal I'd send to him. And I was like, I'm always going to make sure I see 10 or more because, like, okay, so if this is the standard, I'm not here to be average. I'm here to crush it. And so,
yeah.
right, like that's the mentality. Now, is there time to pull over, have a Coke and a smile? Yeah, it definitely creates different time, but time is viewed differently when you're focused on process and results, right?
Yeah. Measuring results for sure. And, a lot of times you have to measure your activity to figure out,
Yep.
okay, how many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Roll Pop, right? And so, yeah, I love that. And then, you start to take it a step further. And that's when you, as you know, you dip into entrepreneurship. It's
Yep.
like, oh, I really like flexibility. And it
Yeah.
was interesting because in this sales job, it is a great company and I love the people and everything. But I
Mhm.
remember I came in for a review, and one of the things that the GM said to me, he goes, "Well, you didn't put enough miles on your car." And I'm like, I exceeded every goal you had. I got all my bonuses. I sold everything you asked me to sell and more. And you're now telling me I didn't put enough miles on my car. Well, you're welcome. I didn't have to bring down the value of the car you gave me in order to hit the goal because I'm that good. I don't know, whatever it was. But I remember thinking, this is probably not for me.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to take my skills and I'm going to put all the energy into making sure that I'm the one who's, benefiting from, the hockey stick or whatever that effort is, which
Yeah.
launches you from sales to entrepreneurship, So,
Yeah. Well, and so that's pretty interesting because a lot of people, like when they look back at their career, I mean, I have moments too where you can look back and like people don't really leave companies, they leave bad managers. And so like this sounds like a manager that's like just trying to find some way to nudge you, like to give you criticism instead of like, way to go, Janine, you crushed it. Let's go. Right? Like that's an old way of management. Like I had one of the old school managers, like, you got to wear a tie, you got to do this, you got to be here on a Tuesday. And I'm like, I set meetings. I'm here for production, not just
yeah. Yeah.
clocking in and
You know,
clocking.
and that's what you wanted, was somebody to drive a certain number of miles. If that's what you were measuring, I didn't realize that. I thought you were measuring the sales because that's what you told me. If I had,
Yeah,
I would have just drove around.
yeah, exactly. So this gave you like the first taste of business, and then like, okay, so now what? Like
Yeah.
you got your eye on the prize of
Yeah.
starting your own company.
Well, then I scared the hell out of my husband, and I came home and I said, I don't, he wants me, literally at that time, that he wanted me to he wanted me to travel more, and he gave this territory for more travel. He gave a local territory to somebody else and wanted me to take a further away travel territory. And I didn't want to do that at the time.
Yeah.
I was trying to have babies. I mean, all the
Yep.
things and all that. And so I came home and said, hey, I think I want to pursue my next thing, which was then I became a independent rep for Mary Kay Cosmetics. So the
Okay.
math to the makeup, that was
Yep.
a big leap. And if
Yeah.
you knew me back then, I mean, I didn't even wear makeup. I didn't even know how to wear makeup. My friends are like, you're doing what? I'm like, I know. And he was like, you're going to do what? I'm like, yeah, they're going to come pick my company car up here tomorrow. And he was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, this is great. Okay, so then what led you to get into Mary Kay?
I went, So at the time I'm like almost 30, I think.
Mhm.
And there are lots of people that grew up knowing Mary Kay Cosmetics. I had never heard of Mary Kay. I guess I'd heard of it. Nobody had ever approached me. Nobody had ever offered me a facial. I never saw it with my mom. I didn't know anything about it. And a guy I worked with, his girlfriend invited me to go to something. And I was like, ugh, I told her I'd go. I don't really want to go, but I'm a woman of my word. So I went. And the speaker there, the woman there, who was a sales director, just blew my mind. I loved her. To this day, I love her. Unfortunately, she passed away about, maybe more 10, 15 years ago. It was so devastating. The earth lost a most wonderful woman. And
Yeah.
she became my mentor, and she really gave me the encouragement. What I learned there led me to my, next company, which was Datafile. It gave me the encouragement that, oh, okay, I can do this. I can, set the goals, set the budget. Like, I don't have to have somebody's salary. I can make it literally on my own.
So what are the things that some of the things that stand out in your mind that you learned from her that kind of, because like, I look back at my career and there were certain points where I'm like, thought I was falling into the drone category where I'm like yeah, I was in corporate for 15 years where I just kind of started to get in line and my voice got more monotone and just trying to
Right.
stay in these lines. And then I had one guy that was, brought me onto his team and he's like, I want you to think bigger, execute better, and, make things happen at a higher level. And he's like, he just kept challenging me to grow and be more of myself and like really just let it rip. And I think you could see there's no looking back after that. But like for you, what was it that your mentor kind of unlocked in your brain and helped kind of open new horizons to?
You know, she was very good, and the whole community of Mary Kay. It
Oh,
wasn't
cool.
just her. I mean, everybody thinks it's about makeup. It's so much more than that. It it allowed me to understand what is the goal and what are you doing to achieve it, and how to back into that, and how to
Yep.
track and measure. And, you know, I mean, what do they say? An untracked goal is just a dream, or I don't know, whatever all the cliches
Oh, we
are.
could fire those out for the next hour.
Right, right, right. But I wanted to own my time.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, so, my husband's like, okay, you came home and quit your job. Thanks. We've been married a long time now. He's still good with it. But, okay, well, we needed this amount of income to support our family and to,
Yep.
pay our bills. I'm like, okay, well, what's the number? I'll hit that number. What's it going to take? So how
Yeah.
many? So I learned that you don't want to be playing office. Being successful in Mary Kay isn't about alphabetizing the lipsticks. Okay, that's just playing office. And anybody that knows me, anybody listening to this is going to roll their eyes, going, "Oh my god!"
Great. I already love it. I see where this is
I know
going.
people that play office. I'm like, well, playing office is not going to get you where you want.
Yep.
So I got really focused. She had goals. I was on her team. She didn't want me playing office. She's like, hey man, we got goals together. Let's go.
Yep.
And so I've always been very aware of what am I doing to advance to get to what it is I want.
Yep. And so then you learn in a direction and take action in a direction, right? Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
so? When with your initial activity at Mary Kay, like what were things you were doing? Were you cold calling, building up, circle of
Yeah.
influence, and then getting referrals, or what were you
Yeah.
doing with your time?
That was a combo. To be successful, you had to sell product and you had to recruit women. Those were the two things. And what happened, the reason that, so I grew and became a sales director, I became a car driving director. And there's kind of this pinnacle moment where if you want to drive the pink car, that that's when things start to get really real. I mean, you start making real money, and what for us and my family realized, I started interviewing people that I admired to try to understand, because it really wasn't working for us. And at the end of the day, Mary Kay, I don't care how you slice and dice it, it's an evening and a weekend business.
Yep.
And my husband and I were single parenting then, because he was he's an engineer. He owns an industrial weighing company. And so
Okay.
he's working 8 to 5. And then he's coming home and I'm handing him kids, and we didn't want a single parent. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay. So when I started interviewing other women that I really admired, I found out their husband is an ER doc. So he works these wonky days and hours, and every Tuesday is family day, right?
Mhm.
Or their husband was a real estate person, or their husband was a firefighter.
Yep.
They work 24 on and 24 off.
Yeah.
They had what I called they both had these alternative, lifestyles that worked for their family. And it
Yep.
was this aha moment. I'm like, oh my gosh, that doesn't work for us. And so I resigned
Yep.
as a successful director, which you don't do very often, I guess, but
Yeah.
I did. And I bought this other small book of business that was like a B2B business that was Data File Technologies, which was my, to this point, my magnus opus. So, yeah.
Okay. Wait, I have one question about Mary
Yeah.
Kay.
Yeah.
I just saw one of those sweet pink Cadillacs a couple days ago, right
Uh-huh.
on the street when I was going to the grocery store, and it even has like the Mary Kay
Yeah.
on it. Like, are those all? Is that like a custom deal between Mary Kay and Cadillac, or
Oh,
how does that work?
100%. Yeah, 100%. And the paint, if once you turn the car in as the director, Cadillac is not allowed to sell that car to anybody. They have to repaint it. You can only drive that car with that paint if you are indeed a Mary Kay sales director that earned it.
Oh
Once
wow.
they turn it back in, because you get a new one every 2 years, once you turn it
Okay.
back in, Cadillac has to redo the finish, the paint.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that's
Yeah.
some big
And,
info.
and what you have to do with that is you have to have, again, a certain amount of product sales.
Mhm.
And they have great products. I haven't used them in a long time, but they are very, very good. And you have to have you have to build a team of people. So it's a combo of the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you've realized that working at Mary Kay is not going to fit your lifestyle, your family life,
Mm-hmm.
and you bought a book of business. What's going on here, Janine?
So I had this friend of mine, and he's a business broker, and
Okay.
he had this little business, and a few times he had told me about it. Like we'd be, in the driveway, kids are running around, having a beer or something. And I'm like, I need another business. Like I need a hole in my head. My husband's an entrepreneur. I got this Mary Kay thing. I'm like, no. Well, then all of a sudden I had this aha moment, and I was like, okay, tell me more. What does this business do? What does this thing do?
Yeah.
And so what Data File Technologies was a medical record business. Okay.
Mhm.
We moved medical records all over the country. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about HIPAA. I didn't know anything about medical records. I wasn't passionate about medical records. I just, this guy was like, I'm like, oh, this is a B2B business where I can own my own time,
Yep.
work a couple days a week. Okay. Tell me more. So I ended up, we ended up coming together on a small transaction. And I bought like 2 laptops in these roller bags with these scanners and a copy machine lease that I didn't know I was getting because I didn't do my due diligence well. And put a small down payment on it. And then the guys financed it for a year on the receivables that I brought in.
Okay.
And like a year the day that I bought it, I had a third baby. That wasn't the smartest thing I've ever done. I mean, she was the smartest thing, but the timing of it, I was like, oh, what am I doing here?
I'm tracking.
And and so I paid it off within a year. I had these, 4 customers, and I'd go on site and I'd copy medical records and send them off to wherever they wanted them to go. And that was just me. And I grew that business. When I sold it, we had about 400 employees.
Wow. So it went from 1 to 400.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It was cool as heck.
okay. So digging back into the beginning. So I'm in a couple of different M&A groups and have gotten to learn an incredible amount about mergers and acquisitions and the team you have to build that it takes to, so like you brought up due diligence, there were some things that slipped through the cracks. Could you kind of talk about what you learned from since you've been able to reflect on it and how you've grown, like from M&A, what was that experience like, especially in the beginning, like for this?
Well, the first when I purchased that, I mean, it was just, it was really very minimal,
Yeah.
the guy, my friend knew the people trying to sell it. And it was one of those where one of them was a CPA, one of them had a thriving, like insurance business.
Yeah.
And they both had like 100 kids between the two of them. And their wives were like, you got to get rid of that thing. I mean, it was literally and they're like, okay, so that was pretty simple.
Yeah.
I had another transaction a few years later. I acquired a small, business, like a mother-daughter business. And that had some pretty big hiccups that didn't go great. And it was funny because, I was really upset about it. And my husband was so great because he's like, okay, how much are you talking about? Like, what's the deal? Break it down for me. And it was a minimal amount of money. Okay.
Mhm.
And like I had an SBA loan. It was like $300 a month. And he's like, well, why don't you just stop crying and why don't you just go sell something? And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And he was so right. I mean, it was just silly in hindsight, but,
Yeah.
but that,
But that brings up a beautiful example of scarcity versus abundance mindset
totally.
where you can like literally lock on everything that can go wrong and
Yeah.
the world seems this big, right?
Yeah.
Like you feel like trapped, right? Like how did you just immediately snap into action after your husband said that? Or like, how, as we'll keep going through this, but from a mindset standpoint, what do you do to work on yourself? Like, so that you are able to think abundantly and own your time and not get lost in the weeds of what can go wrong, because that's it. It's a slippery slope. And like, I think most people have been there and can relate to it.
Well, and you have to trust and believe, and you have to know that when I wasn't believing, he was believing for me, and he was breathing that belief into me. Because here I was like scared, like I'd made this big mistake and I got this big SBA loan and now we lost this business and yada, yada, yada. And he is like, because everything happens, Nick, when somebody sells something. He's like, go sell something. How many clients do you need to make up for that? I'm like probably one or two. He's like, come on, And so I was like, gosh, you don't have to be so mean about it. But he was totally right. Yeah.
This is great. This is amazing because this reminds me of my wife when we started dating, when she'd say to me, I'm not here to coddle you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, right? That's good stuff. But yeah.
So so you were asking about M&A, then my next experience with it is when I sold it. So, yeah.
Okay. So now you've got data file technologies up and running. How did you go from 1 to 400 people? Like there's a wide gap of things that happened, right? So how did you go from you being the one that would scan files, send them all over the country? Like what was next? And how did you continue to, because there's a lot of leadership, management, like everything that you had to learn throughout that. Like what was the process like?
I got really lucky in a lot of ways. I mean, first of all, I always compare it to that we were basically like the Carnegies who owned steel mills in the United States decided to put a railroad across the country. Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
They didn't build the steel mills to build the railroad. They had the steel mills and then the railroad, know? Yep. So we, right about that time, or within the first few years, the 2008, big bubble, real estate bubble, the crash, the recession, the recovery of that President Obama put out was called the ARRA, the American Recovery Reinvestment Act. The healthcare portion of that is called the HITECH Act. And what it did was it incentivized hospitals and doctors' offices to move from a paper medical record to an electronic medical record. So when I started this business, like 2% of doctors' offices and hospitals were actually using an electronic health record. Here in Kansas City, the big one that everybody knows used to be called Cerner. Okay. Started by our friend Neil Patterson. So what happened was we were already in motion. We were 3 or 4 years in motion. We understood the movement of medical records. So what we did was where we found our pond to hunt in was within the electronic health record companies. We became experts on their software. So their customers trusted us to do what we did. So where like my competitor might have been walking into the doctor's office at the hospital saying, here's my services and here's how great they are, which is great.
Yeah.
We were actually marketing through the electronic health record companies. Like, here's the service that knows our product. And I knew all the buzzwords. And so I sat at my kitchen table many hours logging into new softwares until we knew how to use it and how many clicks it took to do what we did and do what we did. And then we just built that portfolio, you know? So we didn't work for Cerner. Cerner didn't hire us. The hospital that used Cerner's product hired us, and we knew the product. So when we were talking with them and we were sharing our pitch deck, right?
Yeah.
We tailored it. They knew we knew their software because that is what mattered. Like, you need to know our software.
Yeah.
I got you.
Oh, wow.
That's what we did.
That's a great analogy too, right? Because so when you originally bought a data file, you didn't know this was coming.
No. I bought it in 2005. And that was in 2000. The bubble was 2008. That was 2009.
Yeah. And so you had enough time to get your sea legs under you, understand your new business, understand where everything's going, and then had a point to be able to accelerate when all of a sudden, like, Janine, we got a hot new opportunity here.
Yep.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. Okay. So what position did you hire as the second person on your team? And like, how did you grow and lay out the vision?
Yeah, we just sort of, I had some great partners along the way. I had some great technology partners. I mean, what we did took some advanced technology. We were cutting edge in a couple of things, you know. I mean, now I'm so far behind. I'm like a dinosaur. It's hilarious, you know. I have 3 Gen Zers. Trust me, I know nothing. And so, yeah, I reinvested in the business for years. I didn't bring home any money you remember my husband saying that I needed to earn some money when I told him I was quitting my job? I mean, poor guy. It was quite a while before he got that payback back. But I always say that I didn't have to embezzle from the company. And I don't mean embezzle like legally embezzle. I mean, I didn't have to I could use that cash to hire more people and invest in marketing and invest in technology. Mm-hmm. It was really a big team effort on my family. My husband supported us. You know, people ask me, oh, how'd I do it? A lot of it was circumstances, and not everybody has the same circumstances. I was very fortunate of that time, you know, and I don't want to diminish the work that we did. You know, I worked my butt off, you know. I had a long-term friend that said, you know, I hang around entrepreneur people just like you. I love those people. And they're like, once in a while, you got to step over some Cheerios. You know, there was Cheerios on my floor that I was like, oh, I don't want these Cheerios here, but I got to log into this electronic medical record, you know? So,
yeah. So then, like, as you continue to grow, like how did you continue to lay out the team like that?
Yeah.
That part going from 1 to, you said 400.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some serious professional, personal growth that happens from that, right? And it also makes you a better parent too. I've learned is like when you learn all these different things like emotional intelligence and
some days I felt like I had a lot of it, and some days I had zero. I was at a negative. I was a deficit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We made a lot of mistakes. We had a lot of great things happen. Have you ever read the book by I think it's David Horowitz, The Hard Thing About the Hard Things, or what's it called? What's wrong with me? Anyway, you can Google it and find it. It's kind of a hard read actually, but it's very good. He's a Silicon Valley guy, you know, Oracle guy. Yeah. And I had to do hard things, you know. I always talk about entrepreneurship. People ask me like, you know, what tips would you get or what's important? I think the thing that people don't calculate enough in entrepreneurship, there's 3 things. 1, you have to invest time. Okay. Time is measurable. Everybody has the same 24 hours. A lot of times you have to invest money, you know. I mean, I wasn't buying a boat. I was reinvesting in the business, you know.
Mhm.
Sometimes you have to go out, you know, if you're Elon Musk or Rivian, what's the Rivian guy's name? I mean, he's like 14 billion in debt before he even produced a car, you know. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh. But there's a third thing that I like to speak about a lot, and it's a third resource. Time is a resource, right? Money is a resource. The third resource is what I call energy. And I don't mean energy like you have to get up early and the physicalness to do it. For me, I mean energy to do things you don't want to do. And if you're going to be a successful in anything, entrepreneur, parent, um, relationship, you know, people that have married 50 years, they did a lot of things they didn't want to do. And I had to do a lot of things that I didn't necessarily want to do. I mean, people are like, I don't like confrontation. Nobody likes confrontation, Nick. Okay. Nobody. But you have to make decisions and do things that hurt and sting and feel icky. And so there was a little bit of that along the way.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, at some point you're like, I got 200 other people here, man. And what do they say? You get all the reels and the memes and everything. Like you'll lose good people because you're tolerating, you know, you know, toxic people.
Yep.
And there was plenty of that. I had a partner who's a great friend of mine still, and she handled a lot of the people stuff. That was not my gift. My gift was the customers, sales, the technology. Um, my risk meter apparently knows no bounds. I will go off the cliff. I mean, people have to pull me back. Like, what are you, you know? Um, but
Yeah.
if I brought in business, she hired for it. Hire it. She set up the training to scale. I mean,
Yeah.
she is deserving of all of that. So
Awesome. And so how did you connect with her and like in the journey? When did she come on and kind of help to where you guys realized like, hey, I really like being over here in this lane, and
yeah,
she excelled in kind of in a complementary fashion.
we met in Mary Kay Cosmetics.
Oh yeah.
I'm so lucky. We're still entrepreneurial friends to this day. That was, I don't even know, 100 years ago, it feels like. And she came on board when I remember I said I had that baby. I got pregnant with that third baby. I had
Yep.
this. I was like, hey, I need you. And she and I had babies like stair step. And
Yeah.
so I said, hey, I want you to go on site and copy these medical records while I have this baby. And she's like, okay, because then I'm going to have my baby 3 months later. And then I'm like, okay, well, then I'll go back and I'll go on site and copy the medical records.
Yep.
And so then she did that. And then after she had her baby, she's like, hey, do you want me to take that job back? Because I want to work a little part time. And anyway, we laugh really hard about it because that's really how it started.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I think we have something here. I think we can grow this. I know we have these babies at home. So we would go meet at the park and we would be talking strategy about how to grow this business, you know, get out of the sandbox, that kind of thing. So,
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
And good use of time. That's a high efficiency.
Yeah. And our
Oh,
youngest, those two babies that we had during that time just graduated high school. So,
wow.
yes,
And how many kids do you have?
I have three. Yeah.
Three.
I have two girls. Yeah.
Awesome. And all graduated high school and on to college. That's crazy. It's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. Congrats.
Yeah.
That's a big accomplishment too, right?
Yeah. Thank you. You're going to get them out of first grade. You're going to keep it going.
Yeah. No, I mean we're just excited to be at the bus on time these days.
Trust me.
Oh,
Same.
oh man, that's awesome. So when you look back at your career with data file technologies, how did you grow the most in just as a business person?
Um, I, boy, it's a lot every which way. My hesitation is because I don't, what do
Yeah,
I say in the next 10 minutes? Because there was so much growth.
yeah,
I've had so much to learn. I've come a long way. I still have a lot to learn, but I was, I was in a lot of frantic. I was in a lot of fear. I mean, when it grew, it started to grow. I mean, we're talking about, it was a hockey stick. You know, if
mhm,
you really studied it, we were very, very fortunate, the 2% or whatever the data is.
Yeah.
And with that hockey stick, man, it became, you know, a lot of pressure. Like, and we were dealing with, you know, PHI, which is called protected health information,
Mhm.
you know, the data in motion, data at rest. It was like, wow, this is serious stuff. You know, you can
Yeah.
have data breach and all that. And I am much more, I have a good friend who says nothing is ever as bad as it seems. Nothing is ever as good as it seems. And I am able to absorb that quite a bit and not be as chicken little, or, you know, I definitely used to be a lot more,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, could be emotional. And it was usually out of a place of fear.
Hmm.
I wasn't, you know, emotionally immature. And I was able to make decisions. But if I was afraid because I wasn't sure, you know, how this was going to play out or whatever, I had to really grow up and calm myself and realize that, you know, it's okay. It's okay.
I heard a quote a couple of days ago about, a lot of emotional decisions are usually ones that people, look back and question because there's low logic when you just have so much emotion come out. And I think, everybody's been there where you're not really seeing which way's up, which way's down. It's just like you see
Yeah.
everything all at once and you're not able to break it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild feeling. And so it was from the growth and being the captain of this boat that's now accelerated speed and a
Yeah.
lot bigger ocean.
You know, and from somebody who came, you can appreciate this from the sales side. I know how hard it is to sell
Mhm.
something. Okay.
Yeah.
Especially something like what we sold. I mean, it was a long sales cycle. It was, you know,
Yep.
technical. It was very hard to lose clients because it was sticky from the
Hmm.
technology, you know,
Yep.
we had to really mess up, which we did. Okay.
Yeah.
And for somebody to break up with us and go with somebody else, that was a big transition, you know?
Yep.
So, um, when we would mess up, I was like, gosh, we worked so hard to get this. Like, come on, you know, that
Yeah.
type of thing. So we got really good at putting in a lot of process. That's how we grew. We were just really good at what we did. You know, we didn't do anything. I always say what we did had to be done. Like right now, the cracker company, you
Mhm.
don't have to eat a cracker, right? You don't need what we have.
Yep.
Okay. But what we did, the customer either did it themselves, they
Mhm.
used us, or they used a competitor of ours.
Mhm.
Not doing it was not an option,
Yeah.
you know? So, um, you know, so that was just part of that story and that journey. Now it's interesting. So that was a service company, you know, so
Mhm.
those 400 people I told you, you know, 2/3 of them were sitting at multiple computers, 3 screens, and moving their mouse with, you know, in their keyboard strokes and stuff like that. It was a
Yeah.
clerical position that we did.
Yep.
Moving to Crackerology is a product, not a service.
Mhm.
And I thought I really wanted a product because I was like, service, all these people, you know, I don't know now, man. Product is hard as well. So that's
Yeah.
an interesting part of my journey. If you've ever started up or been the executive or selling service versus product, you know, I think it's always grass is greener. Totally.
Yeah. That's great. Okay. So to close out data file technologies, what was the exit? I mean, it sounds like a pretty crazy journey from starting it basically as a solopreneur and you basically bought a job, right?
Yeah.
To get rocking and rolling. And then this tremendous opportunity came. And
Yes.
then you learned to run fast and find the right people to row with. And then from there, when did you start to look at an exit strategy and how did you go from there to then Crackerology?
Yeah. Well, when you own a healthcare technology company, you know, kind of through the, you know, 2000s journey, I mean, it's very sought after. I got a lot of people reaching out all the time. And one of these times, somebody just caught me in that one heavy moment of, you know, who knows what was happening. And it, you know, it was it was almost a year journey, you know, maybe
Mhm.
9 months from the, you know, time of, okay, I'll listen, you know,
Mhm.
told them no, no, no. And they kept coming back. And the pile got bigger. I was like, okay, well, now I'm listening, you know. So what happened was we had a competitor of ours. We were about similar size. And so they took on an investor, typical M&A VC or private equity came in with them. They bolted
Yep.
us on. There's been 2 transactions since then. So, and, now, the combined companies are, probably the number 2, number 3 player in the country. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's kind of how that grew. And yeah, it was a great situation and no regret. So I took it as far as I probably took it as far as I needed to, maybe as far as I was capable of
Yeah.
at the time. And so I was glad to step back and let somebody else continue to run with it.
So after you sold your company, like what did you do?
Well, I did what everybody else did, and I stayed in, what was it called? So I sold my company on March 27th of 2020.
Okay.
If you Google that day, that was the day the CARES Act was signed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I had kids home from school. The world was changing. My world got turned upside down. It was a bizarro world. I mean, everybody, like, where were you when, right? Like, where
Yeah.
were you when JFK got shot? Okay, well, you and I weren't born, but, people that were, they know where they were,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so, where was I when? And it was weird. So, thus, after about 6 months or so, my husband's like, okay, you got to find something to do. What are you going to do? And I was like,
Wait, so the transaction closed basically the day the world shut down?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Uh-huh. We didn't think it was going to happen. I mean,
Which
the
part?
was another owner and I was like, what? I mean, what are we doing with this? Like, what's, da, 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 da. Yeah, it was weird. It was bizarre. But I mean,
That's
it had been in motion for, months and 9 months. And I mean, for us, it was a great, we were people trying to send people home. I had a work from home company long before all you other people started piling in from home. I mean, our employees are like, this is just Tuesday, because our whole team was remote. Everybody worked from home.
yeah.
I tell you when it really hit me. So of those foreign employees, we had about 100 employees in Manila, the Philippines. Greatest
Oh,
place in the world. Love the Philippines.
okay.
The city of Manila shut down, which was a few days before that. That was like March 20th, maybe. I was
Mhm.
like, okay, what is happening? Yeah, it was weird.
That's crazy. So as you were getting closer to closing, like did you have any concerns of like what was looming with COVID, or at that point was it still like I'm not really sure where this is going to go?
No, I mean, I didn't know what the private equity and those guys were going to do, and they kept
Yeah.
saying, "We're in, we're good, let's do this." I mean, our customers were dealing with the same thing everybody else was okay. Well, okay, my kids are at home, and then I've got this, and we had customers throwing work at us, like, "Hey, can you guys take on this work?"
Yeah.
Because we don't have the systems remotely.
Hmm.
We had customers, scared and
Yeah.
like we don't know what to do. I mean, our customers were hospitals and doctors offices,
Yeah.
right? They're like, but if you weren't essential, so there was all that. It was a lot. I mean, you look back 5 years ago and you're like, man. So I mean, our business grew through it. Ultimately our business grew, so because we were already a remote technology, healthcare technology workforce. So
So was it a hard stop after your deal closed, or did you stay on in any type of role afterwards?
yeah, I stayed on for a little bit. And then, I still have, um, I still have equity in the other companies, in the new
Yeah.
company as well. I don't have any operational input or anything like that, but I'm still, have a board seat and all that. But I was really happy to just let somebody else, take it and run, so
Yeah. So once
sorry
somebody
about
else took it and ran, then when did you and your friends get together for Crackerology? Like how did that come together? Was that the next move after
Yeah.
selling your company?
Yeah.
No downtime, no
No,
grass.
there's like 6 months downtime. Yeah, there was a little bit of maybe 9 months downtime. Yeah.
Uncoil a little.
We were, playing pinochle, doing what everybody else was doing, just playing
Oh
pickle,
yeah, yeah.
playing pinochle, you know.
In the middle of COVID, yeah.
What else were you gonna do? Theaters were shut down or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was pretty lost. Anybody that's ever, you know, sold a business or left a position, retired, I'm not unique. Millions of
Yeah.
people, everybody always acts like they just want to retire, and yet some people know what they want to do and other people don't. Their identity. I thought I was ready. I didn't realize how much of my identity was tied up in it.
Yeah.
Even my girls were so funny. They're like, "Mom, don't you have somewhere to go?" And I'm like, "No, actually, no, I don't have a job. So no, I don't."
Oh man.
And so the Cracker Company started because I love food. I love to cook. I'm just a hack. I have no training. But I'm really good at making something out of nothing. And these little red wine and rosemary biscuits, like British biscuits, are something I used to buy at like the Better Cheddar or specialty cheese shops. And the woman that made them went out of business. She didn't sell the company. She just shut the doors, supposedly, because we kind of researched into it. And so I set about making them for my family. And I would make these little cracker biscuits by hand and put little toppings on them, like cheese and charcuterie stuff. And so in my quest to see what's next, let's just start something new. Nick, where were you to tell me don't do it? Don't do it. So started a cracker company. I knew nothing about food manufacturing. I knew nothing about CPG. I still only know a little teeny tiny bit.
Just for those of us that still don't know anything about CPG, what is CPG?
Consumer packaged goods.
Okay.
Yes, it is a category. There are people that are very versed in it. It is.
Yes.
It's the goods, it's the packaging, it's the distribution. Talk about the ultimate supply chain. The fact that those bananas make it into your home is almost a miracle. So, yes.
Oh, wow. Well, I think we're about to really get in the thick of something good here. So what were the first steps? Okay. Hey, I created these delicious treats for my family. We've enjoyed them.
Yeah.
Now I'm just ready to stir it up a little. Janine, like what happened here?
It took about from the time that I said it out loud until we had our first prototype.
The first manifestation.
It was about 7 months.
Okay.
And the first manifestation was 4th of July, the summer of 2021. And I had a little flyer because one of my business partners makes beautiful things. She's a brand executive, graphic designer. Go to our website. The reason our stuff's pretty is because of her.
Yeah.
And I had some of our boxes, some of our kits, and I went on a little road trip with my family and some friends of ours to Lake of the Ozarks. This is 21. Like we're still not flying to Asia. Okay. Cause it's still COVID-ish. Right.
Yeah.
And on the way there, we dropped them off at we stopped at 3 wineries and we did some wine tasting, Nick, because it would be rude not to, and dropped them off, left the flyer. And by that night at 8:00 at night, one of those wineries had emailed me saying, "Great, I loved them. We'll take a case of each." I mean, in sales, you don't get kind of hit. And so we knew we were onto something pretty early. So, yeah.
Oh man, that's like terrifying because you're like, oh, we sold some. Oh man, we got to figure this out now.
Totally.
What's our packaging look like? We got to get a website. Who's going to answer the phone? Then all of a sudden, like your brain explodes.
Totally. Yeah. Next thing you know, we're on the Today Show. Next thing you know, we're on QVC. I mean, all the things. And
You've been on QVC?
Oh yes. If anybody that knows anything about me, the last thing in the world I ever want to do is go on QVC. That's not my jam. Like some people, that's their goal in life. And I'm like, not my jam.
Oh, my face hurts, Janine, because I'm picturing watching QVC with my grandparents. Oh, there's Janine.
You're like, what? Um, anyway, yeah. So it's been very interesting. So our crackers, excuse me, our crackers are like a British biscuit. They're like a savory shortbread.
Mm-hmm.
What we're finding. So, inside scoop for your listeners, Nick. Okay, not most people don't know this.
Here we go.
We're actually launching a brand new line of crispy flatbread crackers. Your traditional cracker that everybody knows and loves, like your wheat thins or something like that. Our British biscuit, while we have raving fans, okay, it's sort of like, I like to call it like the bacon donut, right? Everybody loves the idea of a bacon donut, but most of the donuts in this country are Long John and glazed, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. I'm not a big
Yeah.
donut.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
maybe sprinkles too, but yeah.
Right, right. But the bacon donut's bougie and fancy, and so that's what our historical shortbread has been.
Mm-hmm.
And we are now going to listen to the people, and we're now bringing a line of flavor packed flatbreads to market. And I've been working on that for about 2 years. So, yeah.
Wow. And you just broke that news here on the Business Growth Journey podcast.
Nobody even knows about it outside of our team.
Holy cow, Janine. This is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have the packaging yet. We don't have all the things, but we have 4 pallets of product showing up to our warehouse, hopefully by Wednesday. So,
okay. So this is exciting stuff. So when you started Crackerology, how did like it was your team, like your friends, like what, how did, like, how many employees do you have now?
we're still small and scrappy. I mean, it's me and my business partner, Deanne. One of my other partners is a big M&A banking executive. And so she's off banking executiving. And, we have some part-time people, just kind of a little bit of luck. We got
Yeah.
this guy who we kind of put out an ad for like a warehouse manager, but then we didn't really need a full-time person and things change, you know.
Yeah.
We didn't get some business we thought we were going to get. And then this guy's like retired. He's like this 3PL, which means like third party logistics executive that's already been around the block. And he's like, yeah, I'll come in. He literally comes in anywhere from 10 to 30 hours a week, whatever we need. And he's like, I'll just go play golf if you don't need me. I mean, we couldn't even get so lucky, Nick. This guy
Oh, wow.
knows everything. I'll ask him something. He'll send over a spreadsheet going, well, here's your forecast, whatever he does. I mean, that's just luck. I mean, and then the same, we have our friend Amy does most of our kitting and a lot of our production work that we need. And I mean, she doesn't need our job. She's got 3 boys and her husband owns like all the internet in North Kansas City. Okay. You know, but she loves it and she loves being a part of what we're doing. And she, you know, is like, hey, I like being a part of this and I like staying busy. And so that's just luck. So we have probably about 2 to 4 part-time people.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 2 salespeople and then myself and my other partner. So there's like 6 to 8 of us involved in it. And we're all just kind of owning our own time, if you will.
Oh,
yeah.
Well put. Okay. So, well, Janine, like, you know, luck, not luck. I mean, because when you work hard, when you do a good job, when, like, I've had the opportunity to come to your office and I mean, it's just like a fun, vibrant, cool place.
Yeah.
And you can like tell the genuineness of how happy everybody is. And these are not accidents. It's not lucky, right? Like you have a great ability to be able to attract like-minded people that see your vision and like want to be part of it. I mean, it's cool. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I think for us right now in our startup world, if somebody has like a real need, like, you know, maybe they're a single parent and they have to have a certain salary and medical benefits and all that.
Yeah.
We're not the place for you in a startup because we don't have any of that, you know.
Yeah.
And I always want to support my whole life. What somebody else is best for them is always what's best for me, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, you need to go get that awesome, stable job, you know, somewhere else. But we needed the people that didn't really want that. They're like, I don't want to be here at 9 every day. It's like, great. We don't need you here at 9 every day, you know? So that's like in anything, it has to, you know, matrix in and it has to work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's awesome. So you were on did you say the Today Show? Like what is this roller coaster you're on like? Like how,
well,
like just kind of talk us through, like you started with crackers, now you got flatbread. Like what has the evolution been like? And like, you know, when you and your friends were going to tour hit the 3 wineries on the way back and accidentally, you know, all of a sudden made it sail. Like what has it been like?
you know, that's a great question. I mean, it's been fun. Like anything, I think it's some days it feels a little more work than maybe I want. Some
Mhm.
days, you know, I'll be talking to my husband and I'm like, you know, what do I want? Do I want this? And he's like, you know, if you'll decide that you want it and lean into it, you're going to make it happen. I mean, he's just a big cheerleader. I'm very lucky. He's a big fan, you know, and his, you know, joke right now is like, hey, you know, you need to kick it in gear because we've invested a lot in this. So I've got this great sales team, you know, 2 folks that I'm working with, and we have spent the last 6 months really having a lot better conversations than just, I feel like the first couple of years we were just knocking on all the doors, sending out samples, taking orders, and not being as strategic about what's the long term, you know, how do we get the pull through to get the long term repeat business that we need.
Busy being busy in the beginning and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
which is not sustainable. You know, we had a lot of we get a lot of interest like Q4. We do a lot at the holidays with our kits and that, but we've got to figure out what are the different things throughout. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been challenging. It's so here's what's interesting. Coming from where I was at Datafile, I kind of forgot how leadership playing office maybe I was. I mean, I had a whole team of executives that reported to me and they did it. I mean, I didn't leave meetings with the to-do items. They left the meetings with the to-do items. Well, next thing you know, in my startup, I mean, you know, my partner and I are like, I'm like, oh, we got to change the toilet paper. We don't have any hand soap. I mean, we were doing all the things, you know? And I'm like,
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah,
So
I'm like, oh, I can't. My kids are like, Mom, you can't just stand there and hold the clipboard. You know, I'm like, oh, but I'm really good at holding the clipboard and just
yeah.
doing the work.
Okay. So Janine, that just hit a hot button here. So what is it like in the journey going from, you know, scaling a company from 1 person to 400, selling, and then starting back all over where you're right. You're the person that cleans the toilets,
Yeah,
stays there late,
yeah.
like it's on you to figure it all out. Like
Measuring
what,
the rosemary. Why doesn't the scale go out this far? You know, yeah. It was different. I didn't really anticipate it. I was kind of stuck back into when I did that startup the first time, and I was like, oh, I can do this again.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm 15 years older. Do I really want to do this again? You know, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and your skill set, you know, while you've learned all this other stuff, it evolved into, you know, being a leader and steering the ship and seeing out ahead, right? And like you said, you would leave a meeting and you're not the one with the to-do list. And now it's just your to-do list, like in the very beginning, right? Like with you and a couple other people. Like
yeah.
how did you get back in rhythm?
I don't know that I still am. That's a good point. I mean, so like I have a lot of ideas and I have good ideas, maybe not some not so good ideas sometimes,
I'd
but
say get some good ideas.
I got to have people to execute. I always say, like, if I got to have somebody behind me with a laundry basket because I'm throwing stuff back, and I need people catching it. Otherwise, it's just chaos or it's just dead. It'll die because
Yeah.
I have like I you know some ADD in me. I mean, like squirrel. Like I'm an entrepreneur, and
Yeah.
so I'm a big picture, blue sky. You know, I mean, I'll get on a plane and I'll go figure something out, and I can definitely put together boxes, you know, for hours at a time, you know, but
Yeah.
next thing you know, I'm putting the boxes together. I'm the one who's going to be bringing the people sitting there I'm bringing them more boxes. Like I'll always default, oh, I'm going to order you guys pizza because we got to get these boxes together. I'm always going to default to not just sit there and put the boxes together. And it's
Yeah.
terrible. I mean, sit down and put the boxes together. Okay, I'm trying. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And I can relate. Oh
Yeah.
man. So where is Crackerology at now? Like since you started, like you mentioned being on, QVC. I'm still a fan. And
Yeah.
then the Today Show. What else and like where are you now and where's it going?
Yeah, we've had a lot of success in wineries, microbreweries, distilleries, that type of thing. COVID opens back up, everybody's back out.
Yeah.
Um, boutiques, gift baskets. We've had a little success in a lot of places. I think
Mhm.
right now the shortbread biscuit, savory biscuit, again, while revered by a lot of people, we've got these raving fans.
Mhm.
I think the majority of the population just wants Crackerology to bring a Long John and a glazed, because all of ours have bacon and crazy stuff all
Yeah.
over them. I mean, I'm using that as an analogy. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think for us, the next thing with these flatbreads is to see if we can bring something more mainstream and get more volume
Mhm.
versus being more niche and boutique.
Mhm.
That might be the better way for us to go. So,
So what is it that all of a sudden caught your ear, or was there an aha moment where you you started to find a way to listen to the people of where the Long Johns and glazed donuts are for your business?
yeah, most of what we have is anecdotal. We didn't launch any like formal, consumer studies or anything like that.
Yeah.
That stuff is super expensive and, time consuming. But
Yes.
anecdotally, we've had enough. I've given out enough samples. I've made enough samples. I've stood at many grocery stores, holiday boutiques, wineries. I mean, I've done a lot of sampling. My husband and I together have done a lot of sampling. Our team has done a lot of sampling. And when somebody comes up and they say, interesting, that's the polite way of saying of this is not what I expected. And I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Okay. Hmm.
Now we got a lot of people who are like, oh my gosh, I love these. I'll take 5.
Hmm.
But we got a lot of interesting, and once we could really start asking instead of just accepting they're interesting and
Yeah.
saying, okay, would you prefer this or this? And they're like, yeah, I think I like this more traditional, crunchy. Our original product is very rich. It's very decadent. It's
Hmm.
delicious, Nick. I mean, I know you've had it.
I've had it. It is. It's amazing, and I'm not a sophisticated person.
Keep our cookies and we're going to keep some of that. But I think in order to scale in volume in a CPG, we've got to have a product that is more everyday, more mainstream,
Hmm.
more known to the masses and agreeable to your palate versus so rich.
Hmm. So this is kind of, if all these little cookie crumbs along the way that you see, like, oh, okay, I'm hearing the feedback, and then you start to hear the same feedback over and over, and
Mhm.
it's like, okay, it really provokes thought in that direction. And then as you're trying to figure out your company, your brand, and all the new products that launch, is it kind of refreshing to hear the continuous feedback of like, I think we got something here, that I'm continuing to hear the same thing and see the same thing. Like, does it give you another level of energy where you're like, okay, we got something that we think, and we've heard the people. Now it's time to get it. And like, what is that like?
Well, it's very relevant in what you're saying. I mean, it's been about a year to move and move that ship is no easy feat. It's not a speedboat.
Oh yeah.
It's a cruise ship. And um yeah, I continue. You know what? Here's the great thing is that I'm going to continue to do this as long as the market tells me they want it and
Hmm.
as long as I want to. And the
Yeah.
minute those two things aren't true, I'm out. Because you know what? I'm going to own my time. And but the market, they love our brand, they love our packaging, they love our story. They love the idea of our product. They love our kits. If you're not familiar with our kits, just go to our website and you can, follow us on social media. You'll see all about them. And I mean, I've looked my husband, I mean, I'd be lying if I said, I'm like, why am I doing this? Should I do this? Should we just shut this down? And he's like, I see something in it, and everybody does. Everywhere we go, people are like, have you guys been on Shark Tank? Have you guys been on Shark Tank yet? I'm like, oh, if they saw our P&L, they would eat us alive. Mr. Wonderful would eat us alive. I love him. I wouldn't even disrespect him enough to go on it right now. But maybe we're going to get there. Yeah. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. So to wrap up, I got a couple more things that you've said that I want to circle back to. One, you brought up your husband's support several times, that he sees something to kind of help continue to charge you and push you forward. Like, I know throughout my career, my wife's always been able to see like the next step, because I'm always talking about something and fired up about something. She's like, you're almost there. Just do it.
Yeah.
Right. And it sounds kind of like what you just said. Like what is it about like being an entrepreneur and kind of having this, it really is, you charge at something and you get after it. And then it's kind of hit that point like, man, is this going where I wanted to? And then somebody that's really close to you, generally a spouse, is like, I see this and you're saying this, and then like is able to connect that bridge and like have someone that believes in you. Like what has that meant to you?
I mean, I am the luckiest person in the world, because I mean, don't get me wrong. Some days I want to just, but I think if it's not your spouse, maybe it's your best friend, maybe it's your parent, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I am a big believer that you have to surround yourself with people who believe, that can carry you when you don't. I'm sure that, I got this cracker company that's fun and everything, but this is not heart life-saving equipment. Okay. This is not, there's somebody who's rallying around somebody who's, a sick child who they're like, they got to believe. And when you feel your lowest and other people are building you up, I think that's, the key to anything, and my spouse watched me do it. I mean, I have the benefit of, I have done it. I've been successful. I conquered that 2% with, luck, God, faith, hard work, some combination of the things, grit. I'll just say all the buzzwords,
Yeah, no, keep going.
All the buzzwords, and so he's like, I know you can do this, whether you want to do it or not. That's another thing, but you can do it because, you have done it. I just got to figure out how much rope I'm going to push uphill and how fast I'm going to push it up there.
Oh, man. Wow. Well, Janine, so thank you so much for coming on the business growth journey. And really fired up about this flatbread.
Yeah, I gotta hook you up. So I got you.
And so
you can't get it anywhere right now. We're not even there yet, but it's in our warehouse.
This is great. Okay, so to wrap up, got a couple more things. One, what advice would you offer someone that's either starting or growing a company, or just someone that's at that plateau point where they're looking for what's next, or even somebody that had just exited a company and is like, oh man, not what do I want to do now? Like what would you say to those people? Because you've already navigated these types of scenarios.
Yeah, if you're growing a company right now, you need to be networking and surround yourself with people also growing a company, positive people doing that. You can't go to networking groups that's full of vice presidents that work at banks. Nothing wrong with those people. Okay. They are not doing what you're doing.
Yep.
So I encourage people, entrepreneurs need to hang around entrepreneurs. If you've had an exit and you're lost, if you've had an exit and you're not lost, good on you. Let's go. Right. If you are lost, man, you got to lean into that. You got to talk to friends, talk to people. You got to be vulnerable. Call me, Nick has my number. I'll talk to you. I mean, if you're lost, you're not crazy. And I don't care if you sold your business for, $500 million, you're still lost. There's all kinds of stories like that. So figure out how to get unlost because you're not crazy.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Janine. And so to wrap up, how can people find the delicious treats that Crackerology offers? And Well, we love to promote shameless plugs here
Good.
for our guest company. So if you could please just tell us about Crackerology and if you have any events or how anybody that wants to get in touch with you can.
Yeah, if you just go to our website, crackerology.com, we do a lot of corporate gifts. If your listeners are, business minded folks, we do a lot of team gifts, corporate gifts, that type of thing. And just reach out to us, follow us on, all the things, the grams, the snaps, the talks, whatever. We're out there. I don't know how to do any of that, but my team does. So yeah, happy to send samples if you want to carry us, if you're in a wholesale situation. Yeah, we'd love to talk to you. Yep. And wash
Awesome.
flatbreads. So
Yes. Flatbread coming soon. You heard it first here.
we don't know if we're
Awesome.
going to call them flatbreads. Like we're going to call them like crisps or crisp flatbreads. Like we're still working on it. So if anybody, we'll have to go into the AI and it'll tell us what a crispy flatbready cracker is supposed to be called. We don't know yet.
Oh man, that's great. Well, Janine, thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Nick.